Hi everyone. Contrary to popular misconception, predatory animals most often attack people not out of their own bloodlust, but because of the instinct of self-preservation. This can be caused by human intrusion into foreign territory of a predator or a disrespectful attitude to it. In any case, biologists say that any aggression on the part of animals, there are almost always prerequisites. However, there is another group, the so-called cannibal animals. They in turn, attacks the person only from thirst of blood. Or is it still there? Today we will tell you about 8 animals that preyed exclusively on people and intimidated entire settlements, and explain why it happened. Crocodile Gustave from Burundi. This legendary male Nile crocodile lives in a distant African country, Burundi. He is more than 60 years old, and his bloodlusty is known throughout the world. And for locals, Gustave et al. Has acquired almost mythical significance. Afraid of him, he is worshipped. They call him the Devil of Burundi. All because, during his life, the crocodile killed about 300 people who were unlucky to be on the banks of the Ruzizi River and Lake Tanganyika. Moreover, according to eyewitnesses, Gustave does not eat his victims, but simply leaves them at the crime scene. It is believed that Gustave is one of the largest crocodiles in the world. Its length is at least 6 meters, and weight more than 1 ton. And yet, it can be easy to identify, not only the giant size, but also by the numerous scars, from bullets throughout the body. All these injuries are associated, most likely with numerous and fruitless attempts of people to deal with the crocodile eater. What explains this bloodthirsty behavior? Some experts believe that this is due to the unusual size of the animal. It is possible that they do not allow him to hunt typical prey for his species, such as large fish or antelopes. For what Gustave account for choose itself in sacrifice, more large mammals. This number includes even hippos, which the crocodile usually prefers not to mess with. Other same Philistines argues, that love Gustave to human flesh explains those, that for many years continuous civil wars, on territory Burundi he was force-feed bodies, which locals simply dumped in local reservoirs. In any case, teams of researchers and journalists had already been dispatched to catch Gustave. But all to no avail. According to locals, the crocodile still lives well and continues its relentless hunt for a large prey. Sharks and New Jersey. Yes, today we know that it is better to stay away from sharks, especially white ones. But 100 years ago, about what harm they can cause to a person few people get. Although the animals themselves did not give much reason to be afraid of them. Everything changed in the hot summer of 1916 in New Jersey when a serial shark attack killed 4 people. By the way, this incident was the inspiration for writing the novel and later and filming the movie Jaws. The legendary Steven Spielberg. The first victim of local man-eating sharks was Charles Vosset, which ocean monster attacked in shallow water during the swim-man race with his own dog. When the unfortunate man was pulled ashore, it turned out that he had torn the entire femoral artery and leg. Unfortunately, until hospitals Charles Owen not reached. The second victim was attacked 5 days later, this time much farther from the shore, and the remaining 2 and all in the river near the town of Motoban 24 kilometers from the sea coast. Obviously, no one expected a shark attack here. However, they did occur 2 deaths and 1 injury. Certainly, after all that had happened between the 1st and 12th of July 1916, the whole coast of New Jersey was in a panic. The press did not immediately begin to openly write about the involvement of sharks to these attacks. That would not sow even more excitement. In addition, at that time, almost nothing was known about the danger of sharks to humans. These animals were perceived as helpless and fearful. Of course, after the tragedy in New Jersey, the attitude towards sharks on the part of the scientific community was seriously revised. The Beast of Gévaudan. Here is the most mystical hero of French folklore, which in the period from 1764 to 1767 years dealt with at least 200 victims. The Beast, who systematically exterminated the inhabitants of the province Gévaudan in the south of France, never identified who the and et al. Believes that this was a werewolf. The thing was, he was the size of a cow, and he looked like a wolf. He had a broad chest, a long flexible tail with a tassel like a lion, elongated muzzle and sharp fangs. It is worth noting that this monster did not operate during the acute shortage of food. It might at least somehow justify his misdeed. But no, around him was full of cattle. However, they continued to hunt precisely on rights. Moreover, he killed his prey in particularly sophisticated ways, aiming at the head and neck. As evidence cargo of an animal tried to exterminate many hunters, killing instead him huge numbers of local wolves, but kill his managed only in 1767 year. And according to rumor, with the help of a real silver bullet. So who was the legendary beast? Based on the memories of the hunters who caught it, scientists believe that it was a relic saber-toothed tiger or previously extinct Andrews, who argues that this and at all could be a hyena or, for example, Asian lion. Why did the predator kill people? On this occasion, there is not one theory, but the most basic of them links the attack of the beast with the figure of the unsociable forester of Gévaudan Antoine Chastel. Evidence of his involvement in the tragedies of the mass found near the victims not only animal but also human footprint. The cessation of attacks during the absence of Antoine Chastel at his post, as well as his instant disappearance from the city after killing the beast. So when this forester not 1 year spent in Africa, there is a theory that he brought to France some strange animal, trained him, and made him destroy people. The lions, man-eaters of Tsavo. Yes, lions are warlike and strong kings of the jungle, but it is uncharacteristic for them to attack a person without a reason. However, there are exceptions. These two predators, according to different sources, killed from 28 to 135 people. He received the nickname Lions Man-Eaters. They operated in the late 19th century in what is now Kenya. In the
Kenya, near the Tsavo River, most of the time they killed workers who were building a bridge across this reservoir. The animals were quite smart too. They waited until the workers went to their tents after a hard day and fell asleep, and then attacked the helpless victims,
the defenseless victims. After a few months of fear and panic, both lions were still shot. After, as animals were delivered in Museum Natural History in Chicago, scientists, from different parts of the world, began to detail the study of their telephone and a results analysis behavior and organism. Lions cannibals, were made some assumptions about causes their aggressiveness. Lack of regular food, like cattle, and problems with teeth and jaws. Brown bear from the Sankebutsu. The beast, named Kisaragi. He seemed like a harmless brown bear. At the end of 1915, he killed as many as 7 people in the Japanese village of Sankebutsu, which is located somewhere 11 kilometers from the west coast of Hokkaido. It all started with the fact that the huge beast woke up from hibernation and went to the nearest settlement, in search of food. However, at the sight of people he immediately ran away. Returning through 10 days. Kisaragi will face with armed inhabitants, which, on this time, planned do away with him times and forever. The beast was shot, but he survived. Thought the locals think, after being wounded, the bear will not come back. And soon the giant bear was forgotten again. Very for good reason. Unfortunately, after a couple of weeks, the ogre bear reappeared in the village. This time, very angry. The result of his visit was the death of the wife and child of a local farmer. As a result, only 5 days, from the 9th to the 14th of December, Kisaragi killed 7 people. Tracked down his managed, only with the help experienced a hunter Yamamoto. He had come to Sankebutsu specifically to kill the beast. Champawat tigress. Did you know that of all the cat family, it is tigers that most often attack people? It is believed that in the history of this species, it has killed about 380,000 people. Well, a considerable contribution to this figure says this bloodthirsty tiger, who hunted people, first in Nepal and then in India. All this happened at the junction of the 19th and 20th centuries, and ended with the death of at least 430 people. Attack of the tigress began suddenly. At that time, the wanderers walked through the jungle started to disappear in dozens. Then, to hunt for an unknown monster that was sent detachments of soldiers of the Nepalese army. However, even they failed to catch the predator. The animal just ran across Nepal to the Indian territory. And here began real bloody feast. The tigress was walking around the local villages in broad daylight, attacking everyone. To deal with it managed, only in 1907, the famous English hunter Jim Corbett. Leopard of Rudraprayag. Another bloodthirsty wildcat, a leopard from the Indian district of Rudraprayag, in the period from 1918 to 1926 alone, ate at least 125 people. Against the predator, no precautions helped. At some point, the locals completely stopped leaving the house in the dark. But leopard and it didn't stop. He, without scruple, penetrated right inside human dwellings, which usually had very fragile walls, often made of straw. Predator tried to catch, for several years. He was shot by soldiers, he was ambushed but all to no avail. As a result, the ogre was killed by the same James Jim Corbett, in 1926. Lions of Njam. As a rule, healthy lions, in adequate living conditions, feed on antelopes, zebras, and other herbivores, occasionally attacking giraffes or elephants. However, in some cases, things can change. Perhaps the worst such case occurred in Tanzania, in 1932. Then the lion pried from more than 2 predators, destroyed about 1,500 representatives of a local tribe in Njam. Local even have come up with legend about how that some shaman governed lions, which decided to incite lions on inhabitants' settlements. However, the reasons for this behavior are much more prosaic. According to the conclusion of doctors who studied the bodies of lions, after their murder by hunter George Rushby, cannibals suffered problems with teeth. Precisely the fact that they physically could not to capture more nimble production. Likely and explains their gastronomic inclinations.